Desolate beginnings. Zara trudged through the endless expanse of scorched earth, the sun beating down mercilessly on her back. The once vibrant landscape of her home planet had been reduced to a barren wasteland, where hope seemed as distant as the stars above. With each step, her boots sank into the dry ground, stirring up clouds of dust that danced in the oppressive heat. Her throat felt parched, and she could feel the weight of desperation clawing at her insides. The last remnants of water in her canteen had long since evaporated under the relentless sun. She had ventured far from her settlement in search of salvageable technology, anything that could be traded for supplies, but now it felt as if she were wandering in circles, trapped in an endless loop of despair. "I didn't come this far to die here," she muttered to herself, wiping sweat from her brow with the back of her hand. The mission was simple: locate valuable remnants from the old world and return home a hero. But with each passing hour, that goal slipped further from her grasp. As she scanned the horizon for any sign of life or shelter, something caught her eye, a shimmer in the distance that contrasted starkly against the dull landscape. Zara squinted against the sunlight and took a cautious step forward. Was it an oasis? A mirage? Or perhaps another scavenger like herself? With renewed determination, she pressed on toward the glimmering light. As she drew closer, it became clear that it was not an oasis but rather an abandoned outpost, a relic from a time when this planet thrived with life and technology. The structure stood half buried in sand but still exuded an air of forgotten grandeur. Zara approached cautiously, scanning for any signs of danger. The outpost seemed deserted, debris littered the entrance as if it had been untouched for years. She stepped inside, her heart pounding with both excitement and trepidation. The air was stale and thick with dust, shadows danced along the walls as light filtered through cracks in the ceiling. "Maybe there's something useful here," she whispered to herself, forcing down her rising anxiety. She began rummaging through old crates and containers, hoping to find anything that could help her survive or trade back home. Hours passed as she searched through remnants of technology long forgotten, broken devices and rusted machinery that held little value in their current state. Just when she thought all hope was lost, she stumbled upon a small compartment hidden beneath a pile of rubble. With effort, she pried it open to reveal a shimmering vial filled with liquid. Water? Her eyes widened in disbelief as she held it up to the light. This must be worth its weight in gold. But as she marveled at her find, a sudden noise echoed through the outpost, a sound that sent chills down her spine. Footsteps approached from outside. Someone else had found this place. Zara quickly tucked the vial into her pocket and crouched behind a stack of crates, heart racing as she strained to listen. The footsteps grew louder until they stopped just outside the entrance. "Anyone here?" a voice called out, a deep voice tinged with curiosity rather than menace. Zara held her breath as she peered through a gap between crates. A tall figure entered the outpost, broad-shouldered and ruggedly handsome with tousled dark hair and piercing green eyes that seemed to scan every corner of the room. "Show yourself," he demanded again, his tone more commanding now. Zara hesitated but knew hiding would only prolong the inevitable. Taking a deep breath to steady herself, she stepped out from behind the crates with hands raised in surrender. "I'm not here to cause trouble," she said cautiously, studying him for any signs of aggression. The man's gaze softened slightly as he assessed her, his posture relaxed but still alert. "Neither am I," he replied slowly. "I'm just looking for supplies." Zara narrowed her eyes suspiciously but couldn't shake off an odd sense of familiarity about him despite having never seen him before. "You're not from around here," she stated flatly. "No," he admitted with a slight smirk. "Just passing through." "What's your name?" Zara asked warily. "Yarrick," he replied simply, his expression shifting to one of intrigue as he studied her closely. "And you are?" "Zara." She hesitated before adding defensively, "I don't have anything worth stealing if that's what you're after." Yarrick chuckled softly at her words, a sound that surprised her given their circumstances. I'm not interested in stealing anything from you. He paused before continuing thoughtfully, but I might be able to help you. Zara raised an eyebrow skeptically but felt an unexpected flicker of hope at his offer. Help me how? He gestured toward the door behind him where sunlight streamed in like a beacon amidst shadows. There's more out there than just this outpost, resources we can gather together if you're willing. She considered his proposal carefully. Trusting strangers was risky on this planet where survival often meant betrayal. But something about Yarrick intrigued her, his confidence and ease suggested he knew more than he let on about surviving these harsh conditions. What's in it for you? Zara asked cautiously. Survival, he replied simply without hesitation. And perhaps something more. Zara felt a spark ignite within her. A sense of adventure mixed with curiosity about this enigmatic man standing before her amidst ruins of forgotten dreams. All right, she agreed reluctantly but firmly resolved not to let down her guard completely just yet. Let's see what we can find together. As they stepped outside into the blinding light once more, two unlikely allies bound by circumstance, their journey into unknown territory began anew amidst whispers of fate intertwining between them like threads woven into an intricate tapestry yet to be fully revealed. The mysterious stranger. Zara and Yarrick emerged from the cool shadows of the cave system, squinting against the harsh light of the twin suns. The storm had passed, leaving behind a transformed landscape, dunes glimmered like copper under the sun, and the air felt charged with a new energy. Zara took a deep breath, savoring the crispness that followed the storm, but her mind was still racing with questions about Yarrick. Where to now? She asked, adjusting her pack and trying to shake off the lingering effects of their bond. The connection they had formed felt both exhilarating and terrifying, a strange mix of trust and vulnerability. Yarrick looked out over the horizon, his expression thoughtful. There's an old settlement not far from here. It might have what we need to find the wellspring. Zara's heart raced at the mention of the wellspring, a legendary source of water said to be hidden deep within the planet's ancient ruins. You know where it is? She asked, her curiosity piqued. I have my suspicions, he replied cryptically, glancing back at her with a hint of amusement in his eyes. But we'll need to be cautious. The area is known to be dangerous, especially with raiders on the prowl. Raider territory, Zara echoed, her mind racing with memories of tales told around campfires, stories of ruthless scavengers who would do anything to protect their territory. What makes you think we can get through? Yarrick shrugged nonchalantly, but there was a glimmer of determination in his gaze. We have something they don't, a connection that can help us navigate these dangers. Zara felt a tingle at his words, a reminder of their bond forged through shared water. It was more than just survival, it felt like fate had intertwined their paths for a reason. All right then, she said, steeling herself for whatever lay ahead. Lead the way. As they set off across the shimmering dunes, Zara couldn't help but steal glances at Yarrick. He moved with an ease that spoke of familiarity with this harsh landscape, his confidence was infectious, and she found herself feeling more at ease in his presence. So how did you end up out here? Zara asked as they walked, hoping to learn more about this enigmatic man who had come to her aid. Yarrick hesitated for a moment before responding. I'm searching for something too, answers about my past. His tone was serious now, and Zara sensed there was more beneath the surface. Answers? She prompted gently. He glanced sideways at her, his expression unreadable. Let's just say I've been on a journey to uncover my origins. This planet holds many secrets, including mine. Zara nodded, understanding that some stories were not easily shared. She had her own secrets, her mission to find the wellspring was shrouded in mystery even among her people. But there was something about Yarrick that made her want to open up. Maybe we can help each other, she suggested tentatively. If we find what we're looking for, perhaps it will lead us both to answers. A faint smile crossed Yarrick's lips as he considered her words. I like that idea. Besides, he added playfully, it seems we're stuck together for better or worse. As they approached a rocky outcrop marking the entrance to the settlement, Zara felt a shift in the atmosphere, a tension that hung heavy in the air. She could sense danger lurking just beyond sight. "Stay close," Yarrick warned quietly as they entered the settlement's ruins. The remnants of ancient structures loomed around them, crumbling walls adorned with faded murals that told stories of a time long forgotten. Zara's heart raced as they navigated through narrow passages and overgrown pathways, every shadow seemed alive with potential threats. But amidst her apprehension was an undeniable thrill, the sense that they were on the cusp of discovering something monumental. "Look there," Yarrick pointed toward a partially collapsed building ahead. "That structure appears intact, it might hold some clues." As they approached cautiously, Zara felt an electric charge in the air, a sensation that tingled along her skin as if something profound awaited them within those walls. Inside, dust motes danced in beams of sunlight filtering through cracks in the ceiling. The air was thick with history. Zara could almost hear whispers from those who had walked these halls centuries ago. "Over here," Yarrick called softly as he moved toward an ornate pedestal standing at the center of what appeared to be an ancient gathering place. Zara joined him, her breath catching as she examined intricate carvings etched into its surface, symbols resembling those she had seen in her people's texts about the wellspring. "This is incredible," she breathed, tracing her fingers over one symbol in particular, a spiral entwined with flowing lines that seemed to pulse with energy beneath her touch. Yarrick stepped closer, his presence radiating warmth and curiosity as he leaned over her shoulder to inspect the pedestal. "These markings, they're similar to what I've seen before." He paused thoughtfully before continuing, "It seems we're not just searching for water, we're uncovering our pasts." Zara turned to face him, excitement bubbling within her chest. "Do you think this could lead us to the wellspring?" "I believe it could be part of a larger map," Yarrick replied confidently. "If we can decipher these symbols and connect them with other locations." Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from outside, the sound of footsteps and shouts cutting through their moment of discovery like a knife. "Raiders!" Zara exclaimed instinctively as adrenaline surged through her veins. Yarrick's expression hardened as he quickly scanned their surroundings for an escape route. "We need to hide, now." Without hesitation, they ducked behind a crumbling wall just as several figures burst into the room, rough-looking individuals clad in ragged clothing and armed with makeshift weapons. "Search everywhere," one raider barked angrily while others fanned out across the room. Zara held her breath as she pressed against Yarrick's side, their bond hummed between them, a shared pulse of fear and determination coursing through their veins. "We can't let them find us," she whispered urgently. "I know," Yarrick replied quietly but firmly. "We'll wait for them to leave before making our move." As they crouched together in silence, Zara could feel Yarrick's heart racing beside hers, a rhythm that matched her own anxiety but also offered comfort amid chaos. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours as they remained hidden while raiders rummaged through artifacts and debris around them. Zara could sense their frustration growing as they failed to locate anything valuable. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, one raider growled in frustration, "Nothing here. Let's check another building." As soon as they heard footsteps retreating into the distance, Yarrick turned to Zara with urgency etched on his face. "Now's our chance." They slipped out from behind their hiding spot and moved swiftly toward an exit on the opposite side of the room, hearts pounding in unison as they made their escape into the open air once more. Once outside, they paused briefly to catch their breath beneath the blazing sun before Yarrick spoke again. "We need to get away from here before they regroup." "Which way?" Zara asked frantically as she scanned their surroundings for potential routes. "There's a path leading toward higher ground over there." He pointed toward a rocky incline that seemed less traveled but offered better visibility against any potential threats. Without hesitation, they sprinted toward safety, each step fueled by adrenaline and an unspoken bond forged through shared experiences and challenges faced together. As they reached higher ground overlooking the settlement below them, Zara turned back briefly to survey their surroundings, the ruins now appearing fragile against vast stretches of desert beyond them. "We made it," she said breathlessly, relief washing over her even amid lingering tension from their close call with danger. Yarrick nodded beside her but remained focused on scanning for any signs of movement below them, a protective instinct woven into his very being that resonated deeply within Zara's own heart. "Now what?" she asked after catching her breath again. Curiosity mixed with anticipation filled her voice as she turned back toward him once more, ready for whatever came next on this unpredictable journey together. The Ancient Prophecy. The morning sun cast a golden hue over the transformed landscape, illuminating the rippling dunes that stretched endlessly before Zara and Yarrick. As they emerged from the cave system, the air felt fresh and charged with potential. The storm had washed away the remnants of their previous fears, leaving behind a sense of renewal. "Ready to continue?" Yarrick asked, adjusting his pack and glancing at her with a mixture of excitement and determination. Zara nodded, her heart racing with anticipation. "What's next?" Yarrick pointed toward a cluster of rocky formations in the distance. "That's where we'll find the first clue about the wellspring. According to the markings we saw in the cave, there should be an ancient altar there." "An altar?" Zara echoed, intrigued. "What do you think it will tell us?" "It might reveal more about the connection between our people and the wellspring," he replied, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Or perhaps it will point us toward other locations that hold significance." As they made their way across the sandy terrain, Zara couldn't shake off the feeling that they were on the brink of something monumental. The bond they had formed through their shared water felt like a thread weaving their destinies together, drawing them closer to a truth that had been hidden for far too long. After a few hours of trekking through the sun-drenched landscape, they finally reached the rocky formations. The structure loomed before them, its ancient stones weathered by time but still exuding an aura of power and mystery. "Here it is," Yarrick said, his voice barely above a whisper as he stepped closer to the altar at its base. Intricate carvings adorned its surface, symbols that mirrored those they had seen in the cave. Zara approached cautiously, her fingers brushing over the carvings as if trying to unlock their secrets. "These markings, they're similar to what I found back home," she murmured, her mind racing with possibilities. Yarrick joined her, his presence grounding her as they examined the altar together. "If we can decipher these symbols, it might lead us to understanding the wellspring's true nature." As they studied the carvings, Zara felt a surge of energy coursing through her, an echo of emotions that resonated between them. It was as if the altar was alive with stories waiting to be told. "Look here," Yarrick pointed to a specific symbol, a spiral entwined with flowing lines that seemed to pulse under their touch. "This represents life-giving water." "And this one," Zara added, tracing another symbol nearby that resembled waves crashing against rocks. "It signifies purification." Together, they could indicate a ritual or process necessary to access the wellspring, Yarrick speculated, his brow furrowing in concentration. Zara's heart raced at his words. They were piecing together a puzzle that had eluded her people for generations. "But how do we perform this ritual?" Yarrick stepped back slightly, his gaze shifting from the altar to Zara's face. "We need to gather elements from this area, water from nearby sources, perhaps some plants or minerals that hold significance." "Then let's not waste any time," Zara replied decisively, determination fueling her resolve. "We'll gather whatever we can find." They split up to scour the surrounding area for anything that could aid them in their quest. As Zara moved among the rocky outcrops and sparse vegetation, she felt an odd sense of familiarity wash over her, like she was retracing steps long forgotten. After some time searching, she stumbled upon a small stream trickling down from a nearby rock formation. The water sparkled in the sunlight, and she knelt beside it, cupping her hands to collect some in her palms. "This must be part of it," she whispered to herself as she filled a small container she had brought along. The coolness of the water felt refreshing against her skin, a stark contrast to the heat surrounding them. Meanwhile, Yarok had found several plants with vibrant green leaves and small flowers that seemed to thrive despite harsh conditions. He carefully gathered them into his pack before joining Zara at the stream. "I think these will work," he said excitedly as he displayed his findings. "They have medicinal properties and might enhance whatever ritual we perform." Zara smiled at his enthusiasm. It was infectious and reminded her of why she had embarked on this journey in the first place, to uncover secrets that could save her people. With their supplies gathered, they returned to the altar and began arranging everything according to their interpretations of the symbols. As they worked side by side, Zara couldn't help but feel an unspoken bond growing stronger between them, a connection woven through shared purpose and mutual respect. Once everything was set up as best as they could manage based on their understanding of the markings, Yarok looked at Zara with a serious expression. "Are you ready?" Zara nodded firmly but felt a flutter of nerves in her stomach. "Let's do this." Yarok took a deep breath and began reciting words they had deciphered from the altar's carvings, an incantation meant to invoke protection and guidance from ancient spirits tied to this land. As he spoke, Zara joined him in repeating phrases that resonated within her heart. She could feel energy swirling around them, a palpable force that seemed to respond to their intentions. Suddenly, as they completed their incantation together, there was a low rumble beneath their feet followed by an ethereal glow emanating from the altar itself. The air crackled with energy as swirling lights danced around them, colors shifting like liquid rainbows. "What's happening?" Zara exclaimed in awe as she clutched Jarek's arm instinctively. "I think we're tapping into something powerful," he replied breathlessly, eyes wide with wonder. The glow intensified until it enveloped them both completely, a cocoon of light that pulsed rhythmically like a heartbeat. In that moment, Zara felt an overwhelming sense of clarity wash over her. Visions flooded her mind, images of ancient ceremonies performed by her ancestors and glimpses into forgotten truths about their past. "Zara!" Jarek's voice broke through her reverie just as abruptly as it had begun. "Focus. We need to channel this energy." She nodded vigorously, grounding herself in reality even as visions continued swirling around her consciousness. With Yarok by her side, his presence anchoring her, they directed their combined energy toward the altar once more. As they poured their intentions into it, their hopes for survival and understanding, the light began to coalesce into shapes forming symbols above them in midair, a tapestry woven from threads of history and destiny intertwining before their eyes. Then suddenly everything went dark, the light flickering out like a candle extinguished too soon, and Zara gasped as reality crashed back around them like waves against stone. "What just happened?" she asked breathlessly while trying to catch her breath after such an intense experience. Yarok looked equally stunned but exhilarated at what they had just witnessed together, a moment transcending mere survival. It was something deeper than either had anticipated. "I think we've awakened something," he said slowly as he glanced back at where the altar stood silent now, its power still lingering like echoes reverberating through time itself. "But what does it mean?" Zara pressed urgently, uncertainty clawed at her insides even amid newfound hope blossoming within her heart. "I don't know yet," Yarok admitted thoughtfully while running fingers through his hair, a gesture familiar yet strangely intimate given everything they'd shared so far. "But I believe we're meant to find out together." As he turned toward her fully, eyes shining with determination, Zara felt warmth spread through their bond once more. This time it wasn't just about survival or ancient secrets, it was about forging ahead into uncharted territory hand in hand with someone who understood what lay beneath surface appearances. Beneath the surface. The morning sun bathed the landscape in a warm, golden light as Zara and Yarok emerged from the cave system. The storm had passed, leaving the desert transformed. Rippling dunes stretched endlessly before them, their surfaces etched with intricate patterns carved by the wind. The air felt fresh, invigorating, yet Zara sensed an undercurrent of tension still lingering between them. "Are you all right?" Yarok asked, noticing her contemplative gaze as she stood at the entrance of the cave, lost in thought. Zara turned to him, forcing a smile despite the whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. just thinking about everything we've uncovered. It feels like we're on the brink of something monumental. Yarrick nodded, his expression serious. We are. The markings we found in the cave and at the altar, they connect us to a history that has been buried for far too long. But we need to be cautious, there are forces at play that we don't fully understand. Like the raiders? Zara asked, recalling their narrow escape from danger. The memory of their close call sent a shiver down her spine. Exactly, Yarrick replied, his voice low and steady. They're not just scavengers, they're part of a larger network that seeks to control this land and its resources. If they discover what we're after, they won't hesitate to come after us. Zara felt a surge of determination. Then we need to move quickly. We can't let fear hold us back. With renewed resolve, they set off across the desert once more, navigating through the undulating dunes that seemed to shift beneath their feet. The sun climbed higher in the sky, casting long shadows behind them as they journeyed deeper into uncharted territory. As they walked, Zara couldn't shake off the feeling that they were being watched, an instinctual awareness that prickled at the back of her mind. She glanced sideways at Yarrick, who appeared focused yet alert, his eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of danger. "Do you ever feel like we're being followed?" she asked cautiously. Yarrick's brow furrowed slightly as he considered her words. "I've sensed it too," he admitted quietly. "It's possible that raiders have picked up our trail." Zara's heart raced at his confirmation. She had hoped it was just her imagination playing tricks on her. "What do we do if they catch up to us?" "We need to stay one step ahead," he replied firmly. "If we can reach the next landmark before they do, we might find shelter or a way to throw them off our scent." As they pressed on, Zara's mind raced with thoughts of what lay ahead. The wellspring was more than just a source of water, it represented hope for her people and a chance to reclaim their lost heritage. But with each passing moment, she felt the weight of uncertainty growing heavier. After several hours of trekking under the relentless sun, they finally spotted a rocky outcrop in the distance, a natural formation that resembled an ancient fortress rising from the sands. "There!" Yarrick pointed excitedly. "That must be our next destination." Zara felt a surge of hope as they quickened their pace toward the outcrop. As they approached, she could see that it was adorned with faded carvings similar to those they had encountered before, symbols etched into stone that seemed to whisper secrets from ages past. "This is incredible," Zara breathed as they stepped inside a cavernous opening at its base. The air was cooler here, offering a welcome respite from the heat outside. Yarrick activated his light stick again, illuminating the interior with a soft glow that revealed more intricate carvings along the walls, depictions of ancient rituals and ceremonies celebrating water and life. "Look at this," Zara said, kneeling beside one particular carving that depicted figures gathered around a flowing spring surrounded by lush vegetation. "This must be how our ancestors honored the wellspring." Yarrick joined her on the ground, studying the carving intently. "It seems like there's more to this place than just an altar. It may have been a sanctuary for those who sought guidance from the wellspring." As they examined their surroundings further, Zara noticed another symbol carved into one of the stones, a spiral entwined with flowing lines similar to those found in their previous discoveries. "This symbol again," she murmured, tracing her fingers over it thoughtfully. "It must signify something significant." "I believe it represents balance," Yarrick replied, his voice low with reverence. "The balance between life and death, scarcity and abundance, the very essence of what water represents in this harsh environment." Zara nodded slowly as she absorbed his words. It was as if each carving held pieces of wisdom waiting to be unlocked, a testament to her people's enduring connection with this land. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from outside, the unmistakable sound of footsteps pounding against sand and stone. "Raiders!" Yarrick hissed urgently as he grabbed Zara's arm and pulled her deeper into the shadows of the outcrop. They pressed against the cool stone wall as voices grew louder outside, harsh laughter mingling with shouts filled with menace. "We know you're in there," one voice called out tauntingly. Come out and surrender peacefully. Zara's heart raced as she exchanged worried glances with Yarek. Fear gripped her throat like a vice as she struggled to remain calm. What do we do? She whispered urgently. We need to find another way out, Yarek replied quietly but firmly. There has to be an exit further inside. As they crept deeper into the cavernous space, Zara could feel adrenaline coursing through her veins, a mixture of fear and determination propelling her forward despite uncertainty clouding her thoughts. They navigated through narrow passages illuminated only by Jarek's light stick until they stumbled upon an expansive chamber filled with artifacts, ancient relics scattered across stone tables covered in dust. What is this place? Zara breathed in awe as she took in their surroundings. It felt like stepping back in time, a glimpse into a world long forgotten. I think it's some kind of repository, Yarek said thoughtfully as he examined one artifact, a beautifully crafted vessel adorned with intricate designs resembling waves crashing against rocks. It must have held significance for those who sought water or guidance, Zara mused aloud while reaching out to touch its surface gently. Warmth radiated through her fingertips as if echoing stories waiting to be shared. Suddenly another crash reverberated through the chamber followed by shouts echoing from outside. The raiders were searching for them now more aggressively than before. We don't have much time. Yarek urged urgently while scanning their surroundings for an escape route, his expression tense yet focused on finding safety amidst chaos closing in around them. Zara felt panic rising within her but steeled herself against it. She couldn't allow fear to dictate their fate, not when so much was at stake for both herself and her people who depended on finding hope within these ruins. There, she pointed toward a narrow passageway leading further into darkness, a potential escape route away from danger lurking just beyond reach outside where shadows danced ominously against stone walls illuminated only by flickering light sticks held by raiders searching recklessly through artifacts scattered across floors littered with remnants left behind by those who came before them seeking answers too. Let's go. Yarek urged as he led them toward safety, his grip firm around her wrist guiding them forward through uncertainty toward whatever lay ahead.